Hey, everybody, you're going to want to listen all the way through this episode because we're going to hear Kate Winslet's take on whether or not Jack could fit on the raft.
I can only imagine that answer. We're also going to find out that Mariah Carey does more than cooking up tunes in the kitchen.
Ooh.
Yeah. Enjoy the show, everyone.
Well, hey, look at us back at it for another round o' 90s. How are you, Kel?
I am fantastic. How are we, Sharon?
We are fine. Speaking in wheeze, and I can still see that Adam's name has not yet been scratched off our board behind your head there, so that's good news.
Yeah.
He's playing hard to get at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally hard to pin down. He's a busy young man.
Yeah.
But obviously his skills are required at work, and he's helping us out on the back end, which I realized as the words were coming out of my mouth, had I said that in a different way, it would have seemed like HR should have been called. So for today, Kel, we have got Mariah Carey getting all prepped for the season, the holiday season, not just singing songs, but making food. So we'll talk about her meal of choice that she likes to do over the holidays. Also, how one Hollywood star will hit the street, and another Hollywood star has had the street hit him. I'm trying to keep it light. We'll give you an update on something that's actually a little more serious than I'm intoning. Kelly's Trivia will affirm every choice you've ever made in your life, or not. And your 90s rewind will sound like a who's who of our favorite decade, and all from around this time in 1991. Now, Kate Winslet is doing press for her new movie and shared some pretty deep stuff from one of her old movies. So I figured we should start there because it's actually pretty impressive by the very definition of the word impressive. I saw this interview the other night. Was it on 60 Minutes on Sunday?
Yeah, 60 Minutes.
And in it, I was like, wow, she's just so great, right? Like she's genuine. She's a real person. We have seen her in different, obviously literal different roles in her career, and she tackles each one specifically and skillfully, where you leave going, wow, I didn't realize that, she had that accent, or she doesn't have an accent. She's just, very good at what she does.
Yeah.
But she talked about the idea of doing press and promotion for films. And she talked about how she always gets asked about Titanic. And she talked about it because in the interview, she was asked about something about Titanic. And the follow-up question was basically, do you always get asked questions about the Titanic? And are you fine with it? And she was sort of somewhat resigned to the fact that it's always going to happen. But then she got moved in part of her retail.
She did.
You want to take it from here, Cal?
Well, no, you should.
Okay, well, she was talking about, just the references to how she looked. You're not wearing any makeup for this thing, or you're not this, or, hearing other people's commentary on what she's wearing at an award show, like, making fat jokes, basically. I mean, if the dress came one size bigger, she'd look better, that kind of thing. Like, just stuff that I think back then people got away with. No one's getting away with that stuff now without getting called out on it for being kind of, I mean, if nothing else, for being rude.
Yeah.
But,
like some of those red carpets too, like, right? Like used to, like, even like 5-6 years ago were pretty, like, could be pretty like salty,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Cause they're just being chirpy and catty and kind of like your best friend, and but it really is catty and mean if you're not ready for it.
Yeah. Yeah. And and even the things that we witnessed with Britney Spears back in the day, where she was asked inappropriate questions in interviews, it was kind of like that version of it, but visual wise, like, why are you wearing that? Or you should be like, whatever it was to Kate Winslet. Like, I can't believe she had to actually deal with that, because they weren't saying that stuff to Leonardo.
And that was her point too. Like, well, you're not wearing makeup. Is that a big deal? And she says, they're not asking the men, oh, you grew a beard. Like, is that okay?
Yeah.
It's just normal stuff like that seems to have this gender divide to it, which has always had that. These questions have always been in place.
Yep.
But now finally, it's sort of like talk about the work. It doesn't matter that I'm a woman doing the work.
Hmm.
Just talk about the work and the movie, and you'll actually get a good interview out of it, and you won't sound like an idiot when you're asking your questions.
Yep.
Because the other thing is that there's almost like uh, a quiet or subtle expectation that the celebrities are supposed to go along with that line of questioning. Well, just answer it, like that's what you should expect that stuff. No, I think that people are allowed to go in with an expectation of respect, that they're going to be respected, that there's a level of integrity for the outlet that they're representing, that they're not going to ask um, immature questions like that.
Hmm.
But they do.
Yeah, well, it's even like, when Hillary was going to try to be the president, they were so concerned about what she was wearing, but were they ever asking Donald Trump, like, why are you wearing that suit? You know,
No, exactly.
and like she had to go through X amount of time of hair and makeup, where I'm sure he just probably ran his ha fingers through his hair. You know what I mean? Like there was no,
Well, I don't think you can get fingers through his hair, but I know what you're saying. There
yeah,
was a lot of product that goes into making the Trump hair helmet to
yeah,
be the thickness and bulletproofness
yeah.
that it is, or that it implies. But yeah, I mean, it's just different, right? And it's something that, like I said, we're supposed to be resigned to, but you don't have to take that anymore. And more and more people are calling out that kind of questioning, like, are you really asking me that question? Like, and ideally less and less, the more people are pushing back on questions like that, ideally less and less people are getting called names for pushing back.
Yeah.
I think that someone like Kate Winslet, with her years and years of experience and a long list of credits and films that she's acted in, directed, etc., that there's no shortage of content to draw from that deals with her craft and less to deal with her eyeshadow choice.
It's like I was even trying to tell that to my brother recently. Like we had a situation at the farm where I had to become assertive to like a male,
Mm-hmm.
and he did not take kindly to it, and then basically called my brother to tattle on me.
Oh, wow.
And I told my brother, I'm like, if the situation had been reversed and he felt the need to tell me how life is, like I better take it. But because I was admonishing him for his behavior and I was being assertive about it because I didn't want to be railroaded because I'm a woman,
Mm-hmm.
he didn't take kindly to it. So he basically went with his tail between his legs to my brother to like try to get me in trouble.
Right. As if that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, read the room, donkey, brother.
Yep. 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 But Kate Winslet, by the way, have you had a chance to watch? I think it's been out for 2, 3 years now. I think we started watching it during pandemic, but Mayor of Easttown.
Yeah.
They should do a second season. I think they were trying to convince her. I don't know if she'll do it or not, but
She's great in that. And to me, she reminded me of Haley Wickenheiser, who's a Canadian hockey player. But I'm not sure if we've talked about that before, but her in that character, her in that role, she reminded me of Haley Wickenheiser. I'm like,
that's
they
funny.
could be sisters.
They could be. Yeah.
Yeah, but she's like, again, another character that's got some, grit to her, some realness,
Yeah.
some life,
Yeah.
some
I think she
like
took,
life that we could relate to, that people could
yeah.
relate to.
But I think she even took some flack for doing that role at the time. Like, not fully, but because I think she, like, the role called for her to be a certain, like, way, like, physically. And I think there was like, questions like, well, why aren't you more whatever you need to, the norm would be. And it's like, no, she's playing a character that's having a tough life.
Mm-hmm.
She's not going to have 6 pounds of makeup on or whatever. Like she's just trying to get through the day, So I remember at the time going, but she wouldn't be all gussied up to play this detective person. You know what
Oh,
I mean? Like,
exactly.
and she's so good in that role. Like, and I think
And
she said it took a lot out of her because it was so heavy and like dark.
yeah,
She was so,
totally.
oh my God, so good in that role.
That was very much worth the watch. She was very good in it. The storyline was. properly surprising.
Yep. Hmm.
It's sort of like one of those ones where you think you have things figured out, or you're trying to figure them out as you go, and you're like, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, it was very well done.
Yep.
So, onward and upward, Kate. And one of the questions that the woman on 60 Minutes asked her was, so was there enough room on that on the raft for
Yeah.
Leonardo DiCaprio or for Jack, I think is what she said. And she's like, I don't know. But funny, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, I saw her on the Colbert Report,
Okay.
and he got on his desk, and said, "Can we reenact it?" And it was fun, lighthearted, just,
Yeah.
it was properly done, well executed, I think.
But I think too, like, whether it's her for Titanic or the cast from Friends, like whatever, like Seinfeld people, like, I'm sorry, that's gonna follow you for the rest of your life. And it's also made you who you are. It's
Hmm.
made you how financially stable you most likely are. And so just deal with it and embrace it.
Yep, I
So,
agree with you. And I think that she handles herself well. I think the people that ask the next layer questions of, you know, you were heavier, or your hair color was this, or, like ridiculous questions.
yeah. Yeah. But that's why too, and I think you and I have discussed this on this show before, but it's like it's bizarre though when certain, and I'll use musicians because this is the example, but like when they don't want to sing their hit song,
Oh
that
my gosh, you better sing your hit song. And
you
twice,
better do it.
twice is fine. Start
Yeah.
and end with it.
Yeah. And I laugh too because, like for example, Crystal Waters, she will always perform Gypsy Woman and is super appreciative. Like she told me flat out, she's like, Gypsy Woman, like I forget what her example was, but it was like, basically Gypsy Woman has paid for her life,
For sure.
you know? And so, and by the way, I forgot to tell you this, and this will be fun for the audience right now, because I didn't tell you this in advance. Crystal Waters and I had a recent exchange on Instagram.
Really?
Yeah, so it was so nice. She was in Toronto and wanted to know a question about a particular DJ here in Canada, and she thought he was in Toronto. I was like, oh no, you mean the guy from here? And she's like, oh yeah. She's like, I always think of him, but she's like, I wasn't sure what city he was in. So, anyways, but then she was really sweet, and at the end, she's like, I hope you're well and keep doing what you're doing. I was like, you keep doing what you're doing because I'm so happy. She really has had like, it's not even, I don't even know what to say. I'm saying career resurgence, but it's not that. She's been going for years, but she's had so much more love been shown to her, I would say, in the last two. Like she's really
Yes.
out doing New York Fashion Week, like all that stuff. So very happy for her.
Good. She deserves it.
Yes, I'm still waiting on Cece Peniston to send that vinyl, that autograph. Come on, Cece, let's go, girl.
Come on, girl. Hey,
Yeah.
Kel, you ready to do some trivia? Me too.
But are you ready? Is my question. Okay, you
Yeah,
are. Okay,
I
great.
guess I am. I mean, we never know.
Yeah, so this is actually the first time I think in the entire X amount of time that we have been doing trivia, where on both cards I'm actually on the same number. Because usually, like on one card, I might be asking you question number two, and on the other it might be four. But like all down, I've been balanced, so I'm like, ooh, this I don't have to figure out which number I'm doing this week. It's all great. But you
Nice.
have a decision, sport or art and literature first.
First. I
First.
think I'd like Spart first.
Okay, great. I knew this one. So here we go. Maybe you will. Uh, who was the head coach of the Green Bay Packers when they won the Super Bowl in 1997?
Oh, brother. I don't know. Give me a hint.
Do you want initials?
Yes.
Okay, so first initial M for first name and H for last name.
Mark Harmon.
He's an actor.
Truth.
Mike Holmgren.
Oh, I did not know that.
Do you follow anybody on football? I can't remember.
Do you follow any answers?
Yeah.
Um,
You
Not
follow
really. I'll
Chiefs?
watch football, but I don't
Okay.
Kansas City Chiefs, is that what you're asking?
Didn't you support them in last year's Super Bowl?
Yeah,
Or
yeah. I
okay.
like watching when it's on, but I wouldn't have remembered
Mike Holmgren?
no, clearly I didn't. Not even the second time when
Yeah.
I brought it up.
Um, So I don't know. Good luck with this one. Uh, art and literature. Which
Yes.
90s novel follows the lives of Novalee Nation, Willie Jack Pickens, and their daughter America's Nation?
Oh my God. Are you making, it just sounds like you're making sounds.
Which 90s novel follows the lives of Novalee Nation, Willie Jack Pickens, and their daughter America's Nation?
I don't even know.
Where the
Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants.
Oh, nice. No. Where the heart is.
Oh,
Yeah. It's
let
funny.
me just, let me write that down.
Yeah, I was getting that confused with where calls the heart. Isn't that like a CBC show? Where comes the isn't that like a where comes the heart? Where calls the heart? It's like one of those lifetime.
Keep sounding it out. It sounds fun.
Yeah. Like, and just so we know, Kelly is massively sleep deprived today, so bun
I
shall.
know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sharon.
Well, then back to me, Kelly. How about the we'll get the congratulations out of the way so we can go into some detail about the best wishes that we'll have to give in a second. But congratulations to Kerry Washington on making one of her father's dreams come true,
Yay.
which is that she got her star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Yay, Kerry Washington.
Woo!
Woohoo!
And both of her parents were there to be there. Were there for the ceremony, which is cool.
Yeah. Kerry Washington and I are the same age.
Kerry Washington is fun on Instagram.
Yeah, she's amazing. And she was so good in Scandal. Oh my God.
I didn't watch it.
And actually, there's a movie you never watched Scandal? Oh,
No,
sure. There's
no, no,
actually
no reason. I just, there's a million shows to watch and I didn't
there
get to
is a
that one.
million shows to watch, but she's coming out in a movie in December, and I think about I think it's a military movie, and I will find that for hopefully for next show. But like I know I'm looking forward to it. I think it's got numbers in it. Like it's I think she's in a platoon or something. But be on the
Hmm.
lookout for Kerry Washington. So, and you know who's also fun on Instagram? Viola Davis. I love Viola Davis on.
Yes. Yeah. I love it when um some a celebrity follows the same things that I do and then they share them. I'm like, hey, I follow that thing
Yeah.
too.
And
Neat.
then you're like, we'd be buds.
Yeah. And then you're like, you ask them to meet you for coffee, and all of a sudden you got a restraining order. So
Things get weird.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now the best wishes that we have to get for like my play on words was that Kerry Washington and her star on the road, but the road hit who's the boss star? Danny Pintoro when he suffered through a scooter accident.
Crazy.
Like you've seen those scooters, right?
I don't know if I saw the one he was on. Is it the one where it's like it's powered and you have a little helmet and it's got a
Well,
gas?
you better have a helmet because they go at least 60 kilometers.
Really?
So you're standing on this thing flying through. I mean, you don't even have to be on the road. You could be on the sidewalk. You could be on a bike path. I was driving down a street in my neighborhood where the limit's like 40 or 50, and there's a bike path parallel to it, like a little bit inset from the road. And I was not driving as fast as the scooter was going on the bike path. Like
Wow.
one bump, man, and you're flying. Clearly, which is what happened with Danny Pintoro, who said he was forced to choose between hitting a van and a pylon. And he said, the pylons hurt. Have a terrible scrape on my arm, was pretty convinced that he had broken it. And the next morning, a whole lot better uh, and getting there. But he said he could barely breathe. He had a tear in his stomach. Um, just a whole like last minute kind of woo thing that you happen upon, which I guess is the danger of traveling by scoots, right?
Yeah. I'd much rather be on my motorcycle, Sharon.
Nobody can, people that are just listening to our podcast can't see my face, but if you heard my eyebrows raise,
Yeah.
I think you have to be safe, obviously. And Kelly, you are very,
Yep.
very safe.
Yep.
But each mode of transportation comes with some sort of, you
Yep.
know, be careful list. And here's what you wear.
Yeah. But you know what's crazy too, and I think maybe I've told you this before, but for our listeners who don't, well, first of all, Sharon, you already know this, but so I have my trucker's license, so I can drive the big rigs.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't tell you how many scary situations I've had in the big rig because of stupid car drivers. Like it's incredible the amount of stupidity that, and that's funny because you always hear, like, if you ever hear a conversation about traffic, it's like, oh, those truck drivers, they're absolutely terrible. And like, for sure, there are some, there's no question, but the amount of stupid moves I see cars make around, like the big one for me is we have no choice, but in certain directions, when we're turning, we have to turn wide. And
Hmm.
there's many trailers, like tractor trailers, that actually have the sticker at the back of it that says "careful wide turns," like for the the cars
Yeah.
behind to see that. And I can't tell you how many times I go, let's say I need to turn right. I have to go as left as I can and then turn right. But my
Yep.
flasher's on to turn right. And I can't tell you how many people try to get between me and going straight ahead. So like if I turn, I'm gonna hit them.
Yeah.
Or they'll hit into me. And it's mind-boggling when you see a flasher on and you see me start to, like, I'm turning. Why do you think you can actually squeeze by me and the intersection? Like
Because
I
they're not paying attention to anything that you have done properly. They're just
Yep.
seeing a spot and they got to make their way into that spot or
Yeah.
space, you know?
And it's crazy. And even like too, when you're in traffic, let's say, and oftentimes when I'm in traffic in the big truck, like I see other truckers do it because you're shifting, you try to give a bit more extra space between you and the car in front of you.
Hmm.
People often take that as an opportunity to sneak in. But I'm like, if I can't brake, I can't stop this like a gajillion pound load on a dime. So
Hmm.
if you sneak in and like I'm gonna hit you. Like it's crazy. So be mindful of your truckers.
Well, yeah, be mindful of everything around you. If you're leaving the house, man, everybody has a responsibility to
Yep.
do what they're supposed to do.
Yep.
Accidents will happen, but they shouldn't be so frequent. And for Danny Pintoro of Who's the Boss, who had to have emergency surgery to repair a tear in his stomach and experience the most excruciating pain he's felt in his life, we'll see how quickly he gets back on the scoots, Cal.
I wonder if Alyssa Milano will check in on him.
I hope so.
Me too.
Big sis.
Yep.
Um, where did I want to go from here? Was it oh yeah, Mariah Carey cooking.
Yeah.
She doesn't strike me as the type of person that cooks,
Yep.
to be honest. She, she doesn't wear anything but heels. She she won't wear running shoes, which I'm amazed by. She used to wear running shoes. So maybe she just doesn't wear sneaks when she's performing.
Yeah. But
But anyways,
even when she's in her like I'll call it down tempo gear, like
yeah,
wardrobe, it's like fancy down tempo pajamas.
yeah,
Like, it's never just like a pair of sweats. Like,
no, it's too bad because I love that gear.
yeah.
But I mean, she likes to cook. She's cooking through the holidays,
Yeah.
not just musically. But her meal of choice, what
Yeah, like
was
when
it?
you read this out loud, Sharon, like I am very impressed that she makes this. Like this is great. I'm so
Yeah,
happy.
doesn't seem like it's not toast, you know?
No, it's more that's more than
Uh, she says she likes to cook during the holidays. She makes linguine with white clam sauce. My
wow.
father's favorite recipe. I make it every year, she says, and sometimes my daughter Monroe helps me make it. 13 years old, those twins are. And she says that she loves doing it, the delicious tradition. Um, what does she say? That she has a festive project that she'll be the perfect soundtrack for fans and our holiday traditions, which I don't know, man. That we are 30 years later on that Christmas album.
Yeah.
That is definitely a part of um, my Christmas tradition. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Um, and I'll think of Mariah Carey when I have a white sauced pasta now. Oh,
MC.
Mariah.
MC.
MC, she's on fire.
By the way, one of our colleagues,
Yes.
I don't know where he went, but because so she's on her Christmas tour, which we were so grateful to have her in Montreal last year. Uh,
Yeah.
Um, but she's doing more dates this year, and he is such an MC fan that he flew somewhere to see her. I don't know where he flew. I'll have to find out when he's back to work. But he's like, I think he left. I think he actually leaves tomorrow as of our recording, and he's gone for like 3 days wherever he's going. So
Is
this,
it Mike?
yes,
I knew it.
yeah, he's
Not
a
because I knew it. I just totally picked it. Like it was, that makes sense to me.
massive MC fan. So that
Nice. Well, very good. Sad news for Eminem. We got this story today about how his mother Debbie has passed away.
Mm.
Complications from lung cancer.
Yeah, I didn't know she was sick, but apparently the news was out for a while.
I didn't know that either. Um,
And by a while, I mean like 2 months. It sounds like this was like, not a long time of knowing. And then,
no, exactly. 2 months goes pretty quickly
yeah,
when that's your sentence, right?
yeah,
Um, so she was a young mom for him for sure, but we've heard her referenced in his music. So while she had complications at the end of her life, it seemed that their relationship had some throughout too. So
yeah. I don't know because like apparently she's put out something on social media when he got inducted,
hmm
which was great. But I don't know that they were on speaking terms at this point. I don't know.
yeah.
So,
So there you are.
yeah.
We can't end the show there though, Kel, because we have to do a 90s rewind. Are you ready
Did
for
you
that?
tell us what year already, or is it a surprise?
I think I did say the year that the list of songs that I've gathered for today reads like a who's who of our favorite decade, but specifically goes to around this time in 1991.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, picture this. Michael Bolton and When a Man Loves a Woman.
I can only picture that special mullet.
Yeah, he had the hair, man.
Yeah.
But that was like, I was just so happy when he cut it. I
He
think we
looks
were
he looks so much better with it cut.
totally, and I think we were a couple of years into our podcast when he cut it. Like, I think it
Yeah.
was still long when we started this show. Hey, speaking of weird whispers,
Yeah.
were we? PM Dawn were on the charts around this time. Set adrift on memory bliss. Remember the whisper talking? I love you. Ah. I know you're thinking, wow, she's so good at that. How about Mariah? Since we already talked about her cooking skills, she was cooking on the charts too with Can't Let Go.
Oh,
Even though I tried, I can't let go.
such a great song.
Oh, agreed. It's
Yeah.
just something about it, right? But then, if we put that free play of ballads aside for a second, we get onto the dance floor with Naughty by Nature and OPP. Yeah, you know me, Kelly.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, I'm
Our
not down with OPP
Yeah.
for the record. Also, our girl CC, who we've talked about. Talk about a signature song from a decade. Finally,
Bananas.
love it. Yeah, that was huge around this time in 1991. Same deal on Salt and Peppa's big hit. But let's talk about sex, baby.
So good.
Oh my goodness. How about this though? Um, MC Hammer, please Hammer, don't hurt him. Too legit, too legit to quit. Hand gestures included, faux free. And because this handful of songs from our favorite decade starts with Michael Bolton, it would make sense that we would end with Guns N' Roses, because that's the 90s. Don't Cry, that also brought in the high harmonies of Shannon Hoon from Blind Melon.
Yep.
And that wraps up your 90s rewind.
Thank you, Sharon. We
Almost like
appreciate
an early Christmas gift. It's wrapped up.
you with a big bow.
Yes.
Good stuff.
Good stuff.
Yep.
Good stuff. Also a song from the 90s from the
There we
B-52s.
go.
Good
Um,
stuff.
last thing before you wrap us up, I just wanted to pass along. I told this to you off air, but new show if you are looking for a show to check out on Netflix. It's called Territory.
Yeah.
Basically Australian Yellowstone.
Okay.
It's very good. I think there's just 6 episodes. There might be 8, but I think it's 6. I think I have 2 more to watch and like it's fantastic. And the scenery of Australia is stunning.
So the scenery of the territory,
Yeah.
and I don't know
Yeah. And I can tell
because have you said it yet? I don't know what platform it's on.
I've not said that. But the day after I binge watched those first like 3 episodes or whatever, I just kept hearing the word in my head, mate. They do say mate a fair
Oh
amount.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
The owner of the gym that I go to, F45, is Australian.
Okay.
And she says all the things that I've just said.
Yeah.
All the Australian that I've just spoken,
Yeah.
she speaks it.
Are you still watching that New Zealand show that you were watching? Below Dick?
Below Dick, I haven't watched it in a while, so no. Who's tired? Show of hands.
Yeah, woo!
Yes.
Yep. Time to
uh,
go.
time to go. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for joining us for another fun round of tripping back to our favorite decade. We appreciate it. Any questions for the mailbag before the end of this year? I think we've got a few more episodes in us before it turns into 2025. Who
Bananas.
thought we'd get there
Yeah, not us.
without jetpacks?
Yeah.
Anyways, until next time, thank you very much for finding us wherever it is that you do that. We appreciate it. Passing it on to friends who will pass it on to other friends. And then, oh my gosh, this group is so great. Thank you for listening to 90s Now. Still happening.